Welcome to the Spotswood VFW Preservation Project video. Today, we'll discuss the recently closed Spotswood VFW building and why the site should be historically protected and preserved. Behind the VFW building is one of Spotswood's most significant, yet forgotten, historical sites. A site where 3 centuries of history are visibly layered on top of each other. In archaeology, a palimpsest is a site containing evidence of multiple past events, layered over time, older material partially erased or obscured by later ones. Spotswood has its own perfect example of an archaeological palimpsest. This report attempts to trace that site from a forgotten dam, all the way back to a Lenape king. The first layer of our palimpsest is the ghost of Lake Marguerite. At the turn of the 20th century, publishing magnate Bernard McFadden built a lakefront utopia here, Physical Culture City. Lake Marguerite drew visitors from across the region. A section of the dam that created it still stands today. Inspired by a renowned Helme historian, I went to see the forgotten dam behind the VFW. In 1908, McFadden was arrested for publishing inappropriate material. Though eventually pardoned by President Taft, it meant the end of his utopia. Historic aerial photography shows the dam failed sometime before 1931, and the lake vanished. South Shore and North Shore roads in Helme still hold the lake's memory. Layer 2 is Outcalt's mill, operating from the 1840s into the 1900s. McFadden built his dam at the same site John Outcalt operated his mill, according to the WPA-commissioned 1938 Monroe Centennial History book. In the 1840s, Judge John D. Outcalt purchased land along the Manalapan River to begin his mill venture. An 1850 map from Rutgers shows J.D. Outcalt's snuff mill at this precise location. The map places the mill 9 chains and 75 links, 643.5 feet, from the Turnpike, Bordentown-Amboy Turnpike, now called Manalapan Road in Spotswood. The mill was distant westerly 57 chains from the dotted line in the road. When measured on Google Maps, the VFW lines up with the old chains and links. When water levels drop, a submerged mill structure becomes visible. The structural outline and location match Outcalt's mill on the 1850 map. The construction materials appear consistent with the mid to late 19th century. In the 1870s, Outcalt raised his dam, flooding his brother-in-law George W. Helme's mills downstream. George W. Helme founded Helme, which still bears his name. When Outcalt refused to lower the height of his dam, Helme sued, and Outcalt defended himself with a remarkable historical claim. Outcalt claimed the height of his dam was not as high as the original structure present when his grandfather first purchased the land. He claimed that his mill was built on an old Indian embankment. His case made it all the way to the New Jersey Supreme Court. The court couldn't verify his claims. The case was dismissed on a technicality. The mystery remained unsolved. Weequehela was a Lenape sachem who rose to prominence in colonial society. He dined with governors, dressed in European style, lived in a wood frame house, and operated a plantation and 2 sawmills on the Manalapan River. The foundational structure of one of those mill sites might still be buried underneath the old VFW building. A land feud with a local tavern owner, John Leonard, who Weequehela claimed repeatedly swindled him, ended in murder. According to Samuel Smith's 1765 History of the Colony of New Jersey, Weequehela warned Leonard if he cheated him again he would kill him, which he accordingly took an opportunity of doing. Weequehela shot John Leonard dead, while Leonard was in the daytime walking in his garden. He was executed on June 30th, 1727, in Perth Amboy. The militia was called to maintain order over the crowds. After Weequehela's execution, his lands were seized. One of his mills was repurposed, but the other was left abandoned for nearly a century. By the 1790s, surveyors were already calling it Weequehela's Old Mill. Judge Outcalt didn't purchase the land until over a century after the execution. It makes sense the only remnants of Weequehela's mill John Outcalt could recall from his childhood would be deeply buried stonework. The, quote, Indian embankment Outcalt described could not be verified. Have we unearthed the evidence he needed? While documenting the site, soil broke loose from the embankment. Buried deep within the seemingly natural hill were massive stones with tool marks and clear evidence of human placement. The deeply entangled roots indicate these stones have been buried for a long time. Further investigation revealed at least 4 stacked sandstone blocks, buried beneath centuries of soil and root growth. The layering of more modern materials is visible above. This is the same seemingly natural landmark McFadden and Outcalt both used for their dams. A serendipitous act of erosion may have finally proved John Outcalt's 140-year-old claim to be true. The quote, "old Indian embankment" he described in court appears to be real. If true, that would make this a truly unique historical site, not just for Spotswood, but for the memory of the Lenape people. I have found no archaeological record of Lenape people using large stone structures to create dams or mills. If verified, this discovery could possibly expand our entire understanding of the Lenape's role in colonial society. It would also rightfully recognize Weequehela as Spotswood's first industrialist. With the closure of the VFW, this site has lost its natural guardians. Development pressure threatens sites like these, and the layered history here is too significant to let be erased. It is our civic duty to come together and protect this shared heritage. This site needs professional archaeological investigation and lasting historic preservation. Our goal is to petition the New Jersey Historic Preservation Office to study and protect this important site. For more information, email hiddenhistoryprojectnj@gmail.com. Protect our palimpsest.